Welcome to One-on-One. I'm Steve Adubato, but check this out. Every once in a while, when you have really great guests, it's one-on-two. Let's check these guys out. We've got, on my right, Dr. Joe Marbach, President, Georgian University. And next to him, his colleague, Dr. David Stout, President, Brookdale Community College. Good to see you, gentlemen. Joe, set this up. You were with us on State of Affairs, our other show, and we happened to mention that the two-year colleges, yours, the four-year institutions of higher learning, yours, are partnering up more and more. What's the partnership between you guys?
Yeah, part of it is the emphasis on making college accessible and affordable. And so we've been working at Georgian Court with Brookdale for probably 18, 20 years now in a program originally called Communiversity, but now more recently with satellite campuses that Brookdale has and a dual admission agreement that actually includes high schools in some cases where we can bring students from high school through an associate's degree to a bachelor's degree and an MBA at Georgian Court.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Joe. A dual admissions initiative? Talk about it.
So dual admissions means the students actually will apply to Brookdale or to one of the community colleges.
A two-year.
The two-year school, and then they're accepted into the two-year school, but simultaneously they're accepted into the four-year university. So as long as they meet the criteria for acceptance into that university, they're guaranteed admission.
But David, how does this impact on the affordability issue that Joe raises?
It absolutely decreases the overall cost of education.
Because?
Because the cost of the community college tuition is typically far less than what you would find at the state schools or private institutions. And then in addition to that, we have this really great agreement as part of our partnership that we reduce the cost of tuition at Georgian Court by up to 52%.
We provide scholarships to the students coming in based on their GPA and their standing at Brookdale. We know the quality of the education coming in, and so we're able to give them merit scholarships. So it cuts the cost of the second 2 years by about half.
Is this a model that a lot of other four- and two-year institutions of higher learning are engaged in?
It absolutely is. This is the way, it's the current and it's absolutely the future. This is the way that we're cutting down on the cost of overall college tuition by partnering up in this way. And universities have been doing this for a while through what we call articulation agreements.
Articulation agreements.
And these are when we might say, these are the courses that we offer, how does that line up with the courses that you offer? And we have this written agreement that says that we would accept the students and they get the credits to transfer. But this is different. This kind of partnership really, it makes it far more structured. It's a guaranteed admission for the student into the university. So the student, when they come in, they know that they're going to be able to get on and to get into that university.
The other component is that there's joint advising. So there aren't.
What does that mean? Break it down. Student.
Well, you want to study accounting or you want to study education. Our advisors work with Brookdale advisors to make sure they're taking the right courses in the right sequence, so there aren't wasted courses for a student who gets their 60 credits at Brookdale, but only 40 transfer to Georgian Court. Well, now you've got another semester and a half to take. We cut through that by having joint advising. All those credits count, so the student's on course to graduate in 4 years. And Steve, 80% of them do.
They do.
At Georgian
Let's
Court.
play devil's advocate for a second. So we deal with a lot of institutions of higher learning, yours being one of them. We have a great collaboration. But what I'm curious about is if revenue, which is always an issue for all of us, whether you run a not-for-profit, a university, a community college, if revenue, which comes from student tuitions and fees, is so critical to the lifeblood of the organization, what is the incentive for a four-year institution to have someone pay less, a student pay less, who may be coming to Georgian Court at a later point, pay less at Brookdale? You lose those 2 years. They could have been with you all 4 years, devil advocate, and you make more money.
Possibly, but I'm also getting them. And also the nature of Georgian Court.
I mean, they might not otherwise
They might not have come,
go.
or they might not even go to school in the first place.
Right.
And Georgian Court's unique in the state in that 60% of my undergraduate students are transfer students. And 60% of those students come from Brookdale. So we have a great relationship, and we continue to build on that with these satellite campuses. And Dave, we can tell me about the Hazlitt campus where students could go to 4 years.
By the way, we should make it clear, sorry for interrupting, that geographically, how far, I know you have multiple campuses, but your primary campus is based in?
We're in Lakewood, and
And
How
we're
far
in-
apart?
We're in Lincroft, so that's about 20 miles apart.
Yeah,
Okay, and satellite
half-hour drive.
campuses. You're talking about the Hazlitt campus. Go ahead.
So the Hazlitt campus actually
Is that 117 off
northernmost.
Parkway?
Exactly.
Just checking.
How did you know that?
I should know those
it's,
things.
It's our northernmost site. And it's actually furthest away geographically from Lakewood. But it's interesting because the students from that area are very attracted to go to Georgian Court. So it's actually very much an interesting partnership, and it's attracting the right students, I think, for the.
And we do degree completion right there in Hazlitt. And because it's not on our main campus, we discounted tuition, and it's about a $500 credit hour.
That matters.
It does matter because it's about $5,000 a year to go to Brookdale. So $10,000 the first 2 years, $15,000 for year 3, $15,000 for year 4. It's about $40,000. So you can get a 4-year degree as a commuter student for $40,000.
How would any of this be impacted? Lots of discussion right now about the possibility of free community college education, your schools. If that were to happen, how does it impact this partnership?
I think one of the beautiful things about the idea of the free community college is that it's thought to attract students that aren't currently coming to college. We have about 17% of Monmouth County high school graduates that choose not to go to college because of the affordability issue.
Not that they don't want to.
Not that they don't want to, but even the cost of the community college is out of their reach, and we're finding more of our students are actually working in order to pay those bills. So if we can help the student to forget about the cost of tuition, come to school for the 2 years, they're more likely to go on to a partner program.
Interesting.
They're more likely to actually graduate and move on.
So unlike some of my colleagues at 4 years that are very concerned about it, I think actually Georgian Court would benefit because, as Dave says, it increases the pool of students at schools like Brookdale. And since we get so many transfer students as it is, we'll actually grow. So this would be a beneficial program to Georgian Court.
So before I let you out here, it's a model, but others are using it as well. Those who say, again, devil's advocate, you know what? We want all 4 years. We don't want to partner with anyone else because we're going to lose the money. Joe, you say what to them?
Well, good luck, is what I say, because it really doesn't work in terms of affordability and accessibility for the types of students that we look to attract. And
Either you get the 2 years or you get no years.
Or you get none, it could be. And the type of student that we're seeking to attract are local, they're in the community, often first-generation students, lower-income students. They're attracted to both our institutions, and it's been a great working relationship.
Last question. Joe knows I'm a student of leadership. We have a new radio show on AM 970 that looks at the question of leadership. So I need to ask those in leadership positions, I choose to, the greatest leadership lesson they have learned so far. Joe's done it a few times. What's the number one leadership lesson you've learned so far?
Absolutely listening to what people are telling you, listening to their body language. We have to understand the culture of the organization that we walk into, and not necessarily think that we can superimpose our characteristics or
You're not
what we
a top
want.
down
onto
leader?
them. No, definitely not.
How about you listen to stuff you really don't want to hear? You have to listen anyway?
You have to. You have to. It's a part of it.
Joe, you say? You
Listening-
can't say the same thing. You
Listening
gotta
is
give me something
important. I
else.
say you treat others the way you expect to be treated, the golden rule.
So you still believe in the golden rule?
Still believe in the golden rule, still follow it.
Joe, thank you. David, thank you. Wish you nothing but the best, but more importantly to all of your students who, many of whom, would not be able to have a higher education and whatever that means afterwards if they didn't have this opportunity. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Every once in a while, one-on-one becomes one-on-two. Stay with us right after this.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Hackensack Meridian Health, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, TD Bank, New Jersey Council of County Colleges, Kessler Foundation, NJM Insurance Group, and by NJ Best. Promotional support provided by Meadowlands Regional Chamber, building essential connections that drive business growth, and by Observer New Jersey Politics. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.